Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 60. And this could be the last turn of the game. Alright, it is not the last turn of the game. Okay. Alright, it's not the last turn of the game. Okay. Alright, so what are we doing? What do we got going on? We've got a whole lot of little things, and then obviously we're gonna have some big decisions. We talked about a lot of these in the last video, so let's go over everything, see where we stand, and then go from there. Okay? So we have completed Evocation 4 and Evocation 5 this turn. Going back to Enchantment 8. We have Thalpios, the White Minotaur, has claimed the Throne of the Moon in the name of the White Weeping Willow. Okay. Dazar II has cast Gift of Health. And we actually successfully stole it, so very nice. We have a proclamation from Lanka for a new prophet, as well as from Hinam for a giant mummy prophet. Very cool. Our 6 blood hunters did not capture any slaves. We lost some crippled units, and then we got attacked a whole bunch by Pan. So let us see how that went. So we've got a battle here in Kun Aral. Okay, so we are being attacked by Centaur Hierophants, right? Looks like we've got a scattering of gear. We've got a Moonblade, Kithrionic Lion Pelt, Bracers of Protection, Burning Pearl. And this guy is an Earth Random. He's up against a couple of individuals. Okay, so let's see what happens. He Iron Skins up and runs into things. He's got a 29 protection with Iron Skin. And he's cutting. He's cutting real good. He's unfortunately not strong enough. And this is gonna be a scenario. I'm gonna tell you. All of these attacks are Centaur Hierophants of varying different gear and paths. And if it wasn't for the fact that I'm and I have Enkidu Elders that have run around and boosted my province defense in all of these provinces, these Hierophants would have almost undoubtedly beat 6 province defense in every province. Every single one of them. As the case is, so next up is Feverfens. So this is a great example. This is Jaguar Tribe. Jaguar Tribe is trash, right? What's this Hierophant? This Hierophant is not very geared, in fairness, and he's a nature mage, so he can't do terribly much, but he casts protection, right? I guess this one's probably the worst of the examples, but he does have a curse bestower. So I think not all these Hierophants are created equal. Like if the last one had been up against these Jaguar Tribe, probably would have destroyed them. But as it is, this guy gets chipped down, and boom, dead. Next up, we have one in Gladewood. Alright, so, got another one. Another Kithrionic setup, right? So, Kithrionic Lion Pelt with Bracers of Protection and Iron Skin is very strong, right? You go from 19 to 29 protection. The Moonblade is okay. It's a very cheap weapon. No big deal. We are up against Wolf Tribe, though, here. So, Wolf Tribe is fairly dangerous, right? They don't, well, here's the thing, actually. They don't hit super hard, but they hit multiple times, right? So are they going to be able to chip him down? Getting a couple little hits here or there. Little bit of damage. Little bit of damage. Oh, got him. All right, so he runs off, flees the field. Very cool. We got a battle in White Peaks. All right, and this is a water one, right, with a armor of knights, bracers of protection, golden hoplon, and a frost brand. This is probably the best, and this is a Hierophant Tide, right? This is probably the best equipped one. And it is up against actually decently scary province defense. Some heavy cav and a bunch of light cav, right? This one is kind of weird to me, so as we watch it, I'll point some stuff out, right? So this Hierophant Tide comes in and liquid bodies, right? Quicken selves, and is gonna be scary. Comes in against these heavy cav and immediately just whacks the shit out of them. Sends them fleeing, right? And you might have noticed, right? These light cav have thrown their javelins. They do not close on her. They just don't. They just don't close on her. She could be surrounded right now. She's got 29 defense. That could be cut down because of the harass penalty. Harass penalty is only at 2 right now. That could be cut down greatly. They're just not. Nope. Not gonna move in. And now they all break. So that's super strange. However, I think regardless, I think it was very likely that she survives that fight. Very, very high defense. The only way she was going to get scratched is if early on the heavy calves survived and then everyone else surrounded her and the harass penalty tanked her defense. Then we could have potentially chipped her down. But with liquid body, it would have been very difficult. So this is a successful one. And that's probably the best setup that he has right now. We've got Troll Peaks. Right. This is another Hierophant Tide. Another one of the girls. So another water mage. With the same setup, actually. Does Quicken Self. Does Liquid Body. And this is actually Deer Tribe. Right? So this is Deer Tribe. They come in and wreck this stuff. And in fact, she does, but right there, holy crap. Took 6 and 9 damage back to back. And that basically broke her morale. However, in getting out of here, she's going to break the morale of everyone else, pretty much. So we start to run, but she is infinitely faster than us at 44 combat speed. So she hoofs it off the battlefield, and we win that one. So we got attacked 5 times by little thugs, and we were able to kill 2 of the thugs outright. We drove a 3rd from the battlefield, which I believe he dies on the route. We drove a 4th from the battlefield, which I believe the one in Troll Peaks, I believe she lived. And then the one in White Peaks actually beat us. So very good ratio. And the only reason that ratio exists is 1, a combination of luck, and 2, because of the Enkidu Elder defense organizer trait, right? We've got all that defense organized, and I talked about it early on, right? It can stop very small raiding parties and very light thugs. Normally, very light thugs like this are hinging on the fact that they're going to hit hard and fast, and they're going to prevent a little bit of damage. Not enough for a long attrition fight or anything like that, but enough to rout 6 province defense and move on. But when you're facing 20 province defense, it's a fucking different matter. So very excited about that. That was pretty fun. We also get to witness a battle in Yomi, as Yomi actually attacks Lanka, There's not much to this battle, though. Yomi vastly outnumbers Lanka here, which is unfortunate. Okay, Yomi is now back in possession of their capital. Ugh. Okay. And we've got a couple of other events. We've got an unexpected event in Agartha, where one of our researchers has stumbled upon an ancient skin-bound tome, and a bunch of people are cursed. We have a traders guild established in Pugria, permanently increasing the tax revenue. I think this is the highest. I could be wrong. I've never seen a higher one. I've seen 50 a couple times, but I've never seen a higher province income bonus. This is incredible. This is 500 gold over the course of the next 10 turns. This is amazing. Especially since I am running Misfortune 2, and I keep getting these decent fortune events in other provinces that don't have my dominion yet. This is an amazing event. Very, very nice. We've got an event in the Trackless Wastes. A law has been decreed against sodomy, and unrest goes up and order goes up. Boo. Alright, cool. Gotcha. This is the turn. Okay, so I spent a good portion of the last day or so communicating with other players in the game. Everyone is aware of Pan's kind of attempt, the throne rush, right? Everyone is aware of or doing their part as much as they can to try to stop it. Let's take a look at current situation. So Pan, at this point in time, has the Shattered Throne, the Throne of Destiny, Throne of the First Stage, Throne of the Moon, and the Golden Throne. So if we take a look over here, this is the Throne of Destiny, and this is the Throne of the Moon. Okay. So this throne has been claimed by the White Weeping Willow, and this throne has been claimed by the White Weeping Willow. All right. So if we take a look at it, we've got 3, 6, 8, 10, 12 points for Ascension. So technically, Pan still needs at least 2 thrones. If they get the Throne of the Sun, Throne of Abundance, Throne of Eternal Suffering, 2 of those 3, they win. Or if they get one of these 3 and one of the Throne of Life or the Crystal Throne or either of these other thrones, though I don't think that's going to happen, then they win as well, right? They either need 2 3s or a 3 and a 2. They cannot win with 2 2s. All right? So that's interesting. That's good to know. However, they definitely are on another throne. So this is information that I've basically like gleaned from speaking to other players. They are definitely on one of Mictlan's thrones, right? I assume the Throne of Air, or if I'm remembering correctly, Mictlan had 2 thrones and they have now lost that throne, and now Pan just has to claim it. And we do not know how many H3s they have. We don't know if their god is mobile. We don't know a lot of things. We don't know what other potential thrones they could be on. In theory, right? In theory, there are, I think, 9 thrones, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 thrones. Dweefa. So we've got 1, 2, 3. These 3 thrones are basically outside of Pan's influence completely. Okay? We've got another 3. 1, 2, 3. This one, way up here in Sleepy Mountains, is basically out of his influence. This one is potentially on the border. No. This one is basically out of his influence. So Sleepy Mountains and Sea Untamed out of his influence. And I believe Grainport out of his influence. Right? So what we're looking at is really these 6. So we got Rafabolia, we've got White Forest, We've got Realm of Silence, which I believe to be the Mictlan one that he just took. Then we've got Titan's Breath Peaks, we've got Hall of Woods, and we've got Silver Fangs. So, in theory, this very big theory, we should be good, right? We should be fine. In theory, if these 6 thrones are the only thrones that we have to worry about, and Pan really can't get anything else, because I'm on this side, Relay's on this side, Hinam's over here, Mictlan's over here, and they don't have access to any of these 6 thrones, then in theory it should not be possible for Pan to win. Unfortunately, I have not been able to corroborate that with anyone. And Hinam and Mictlan are both pretty sure that Pan could win, which is no bueno. Right? So we know Pan needs at least 2 more thrones. So they currently have 5. So in theory, as long as they can make it to, I don't know, one of these 3 thrones, which is possible, then they might be able to snag a win. That's, of course, right? This is all to say, right? All of me talking about the current scenario, is trying to explain the situation. We have a very clear option here, right? It is possible that we have nothing to fear, that we've got plenty of time, we've got several turns. Let's take our time, figure it out, right? Take our time, gather our forces, hit hard, and do what we need to do. There are 2 things, there are 2 reasons, I guess 3, right? There are 3 reasons why we're not doing that, okay? There are 3 reasons why we're attacking this turn. Fuck. Okay? And those 3 reasons are, number 1, we cannot corroborate that. We cannot, for certain, say that Pan cannot win next turn. And in fact, we have other people in the game who are worried that they are going to win next turn. Okay? Alright. So, that's number 1, right? Number 2 is, even if they cannot win next turn, waiting may not actually improve my chances of beating them. And that is for a number of different reasons, right? We just got hit in 5 different provinces. It's possible that he has another 5, 10, 15 Centaurides or Hierophants or Hierophantides in my lands, and is gonna just spring raid me to eternity and back, right? It's possible that he moves this army off of Titan's Breath and onto Kohnberg. It's possible that he moves this army off of Hall Woods and brings the fight to me, right? It's possible that he gets on some of my forts and prevents me from moving. So, the second reason why I'm pulling the trigger now is because I'm concerned that if I do not pull the trigger, he might make it an unwinnable situation for me. And to add to that, right, we know, yay, thank you, Scry, right, we know that this province there's a fortification under construction here, right? We assumed that when he took this province last turn, he would immediately start a fort, and we would have a timer on it, right? But if this fort comes up, then that's another layer of fucked for us to deal with. Okay, so that's a very big deal. All right, so that's kind of the second reason. And the third reason is I just kind of want to do it, right? Like, Like the game, okay, so for me, there are multiple different ways to play this game. Okay? Absolutely. There are some people who they play the game very much by the numbers, by the probability, and those people win games. They are excellent strategists. They know how to read people, or they know how to read the mechanics of the game, etc., etc. Right? I I have a little bit of a head for that, but I don't have the patience for it. Especially, so it's for me, it's a different scenario. Like if I'm playing like in an afternoon and I just want to, like, kill 8 hours, and it's strategy time. Yeah, I'll spend hours just nitpicking over the minor details, and I love that shit. But right now, I've get a day job, you have to worry about everything else going on in your life, etc. And you come home and you're like, okay, gonna play a little Dominions. I only got so much time, I gotta get these turns done, right? So it gets into the situation of like, I kind of want action to happen. Like I wanna do things. I get into scenarios like I did with like Ares, where I'm just playing the game and I'm kind of like, okay, well, I'm playing the game, I'm doing what I should be doing. Okay, it's fine, whatever. Okay, game's over. Um, I want to pull the trigger on this. The third reason I want to pull the trigger on this is because I want it. It seems cool, right? I like the high pressure moment. I like the oh, can I actually do this? Can I like cheese this? Can I figure out a good way to do this? And I don't know. I don't know, and that's what makes me interested in the game. So that's what we're gonna do. So, okay, 22 minutes of me, Jack and John, and talking about random shit. Let's actually talk about what's happening. We're not gonna go all over all the recruitment and everything else that's going on. It's irrelevant. We know we don't care that much about it. I will say the only other thing that's really happening this turn is I'm moving the 5 Ishibs into Green Waters, and I'm moving basically this entire Mage Corps into Perina. Because we're getting raided. It's not safe to sit in Neotha, although I think it would be hilarious if we got raided in Neotha and some poor single Hierophant just like rolled up in there and was like, oh shit. But yeah, we're moving the entire Mage Corps into Neotha because it's not safe to sit out in the open like this. We want to get, and not only is it not safe to sit out in the open, it's not safe to sit on the opposite side of my empire with so many mages that I need for battle. Okay. All right, so let's talk about one of the big. This is the singular trigger, and we know this. We know this is a plan that we've already kind of like thought about and talked about. And that's what we did with our research last turn. We went from Evocation 3 to Evocation 5. For a number of reasons. Thunderstrike, Blade Wind, Storm, Earthquake. I said Blade Wind. We're not actually using any Blade Wind right now because of reasons. But that might change. I might actually like go in and alter some things. But really it's Earthquake. So this turn we are teleporting Nazara II, the Anunnaki of growth and rebirth. We are teleporting him onto Titan's Breath, and it's hilarious. Titan's Breath is exactly 6 provinces away. It's exactly in range to be able to do this. Here is one of the issues. So, thinking about what is here. We know there are 441 units. It's a whole shit ton of units. Right, the army consists mainly of Soulless, 15 HP. Soulless Warriors, 15 HP and like 10 protection. Maeonids, right, which are only 10 HP. Revelers, which are like 15 or 16 HP. And White Centaurs. A single Earthquake isn't going to kill anybody, right? It's not going to kill anybody. Not really. 2 Earthquakes will probably kill the vast majority of the Maeonids. Will kill some Revelers. Might kill some Soulless and Soulless Actually, let me rephrase that. It'll kill like most of the Maenads. It'll kill a lot of Revelers and Soulless, and it'll kill some Soulless Warriors, right? Because Earthquake is armor piercing, but Soulless Warriors have 10 armor, right? And this is not assuming, because we don't know anything about the Mage Core there. We don't know if they've got mass protection. We don't know what kind of abilities they have, right? And this absolutely is not going to scratch the White Centaurs. It's not going to do shit to them, okay? But three earthquakes. 3 earthquakes will kill all the Maenads, all the Revelers probably, all the Soulless probably, most of the Soulless Warriors probably, some mages that are there, etc., etc. However, it's not likely that we get 2-3 earthquakes. We are basically gambling and sacrificing our god. For the chance, we'll probably get 2 earthquakes. That's pretty likely, right? That should go down fine. But 3 is, I feel, unlikely, and we're probably going to get smacked in response for it. My assumption is next turn we're going to see our god teleports in, does 2 earthquakes, dies before he gets the 3rd earthquake off, and then, you know, that's real bad. That's real bad for us, because we don't have a god anymore. We lose our incarnate bless. And we're at the start of potentially a long, hard war, and to fucking things more, right? This is early spring. We've got a full year coming. A full year coming in order to deal with this. So that's bad. However, there is a chance, right? And if it is successful, I feel that it all but guarantees our ability to win the upcoming battle. The chance is the fact that Nazar II has very high earth magic. He has 7 earth magic. He only needs 4, I believe. Yeah, he needs 4, right? And we have given him a crazy amount of gems, and I might actually put more gems on him. I was going to look at the rules. I have not looked up the rules yet. If I'm remembering correctly, you cannot use more gems on a spell than you have paths, right? So we might give him 21 earth gems and hope that he uses every single one of them while he is casting, because obviously, right, the hope is there's so much fatigue and it takes 200% casting time, but the hope is that he can get in there and earthquake, use a whole bunch of gems, and almost immediately earthquake again, and use a whole bunch of gems, and then maybe pull out that 3rd earthquake. And if he can, I think the resulting battle is done. Even if he doesn't, right? If he gets the 2 earthquakes off, I'm hopeful that it might kill enough, might kill all the Maenads, and it might kill enough Soulless and Revelers for us to win out in the end. I'm not confident in that though, but we're gonna try. So, all these other units, these people like moving to Kunaral or moving into Kohnberg, they're moving because I'm trying to help reinforce the situation for a potential further turn. They are not important this turn. What is important this turn is all of the individuals that are moving into Titan's Breath. So that includes NC 4, right? Elder 16 and Chief 3 are headed into Kohnberg with the military. NC 4 is basically taking these 3 Mushushus and running in there to cast Fanaticism. That's it. Up here, Isham 2 and Crystal Sorceress 14 and Isham 1 are all going to Titan's Breath. Isham 2 is going in to cast Strength of Gaia and then Mass Protection. Isham 1 is going in to cast a whole bunch of things, most of them buffs on himself. Strength of Gaia, Summon Earth Power, Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, Legions of Steel. If he gets all of this off, he's going to have upwards of 30 plus protection, regenerate like a boss, and hopefully go destroy some things with his chill, aura, bind, shield, flame, sword self. Fingers crossed, right? And then Crystal Sorceress 14 is coming in as a spare Communion Slave. The same is happening for Lizard Shaman 11. It's coming in as a spare Communion Slave. And then we have kind of a mix of what's happening between our various different flavors of magic, right? Our Air Gurus are coming in with a simple script of Mirror Image, Summon Storm Power, Thunderstrike, 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 because we will have Storm up for this, in theory. We will have Storm up for this battle. And Thunderstrike is going to rip through some people. Now, in fairness, keep in mind, his, I believe his White Centaurs have shock resistance, but only so much, right? Like, this is the thing about Thunderstrike. Thunderstrike only gives a little bit of a fuck about base magic shock resistance, right? Because Thunderstrike does such high damage that if you have 10 shock resistance, like you have fire and shock resistance, or you have 15 shock resistance, right? Because you took both the major and minor shock resistance, you're still taking damage, and you're still potentially taking a chunk of damage. It hits hard. And if you don't have a shock resistance, this thing will delete you, right? It will delete the crap out of you. So, Thunderstrike, and we're Thunderstriking on. There's only 3 Air Gurus here, but there's a lot of Air Gurus in Kohnberg. So we're Thunderstriking a lot. Our Ishibs are doing what we've talked about, what the generalized plan has been, right? They are coming in and they are going to be casting a Liquid Body just as kind of like a cursory buff for themselves, a little bit of protection, and then they are going to be summoning Water Elementals. I am very curious about this kind of shit, because, so, alright. They have 2 Water Gems. They are Water 3. They are casting a Water Elemental. They should be able to cast 2 Water Elementals. I have them on conservative magic gem usage just because I am paranoid. This should work. This is supposed to work, right? The game is an asshole sometimes and will be like, nah, they're gonna use both gems because otherwise they'll be over fatigue. Yeah, I'm okay with them being over fatigue and taking like 2 or 3 turns and then casting another fucking Water Elemental. That's what I want. So, that's the theory. That's what we would prefer. I don't know that I trust that, so we might end up going back and putting in water gems, extra water gems on all the Ishibs. We'll see. Okay? So we've got, these Ishibs are doing Liquid Body, Summon Water Elementals. We've got Gurus doing our normal shtick, right? Summon Earth Power, Legions of Steel, then buffs. We've got more Summon Earth Power, Strength of Giants, then buffs. And rinse and repeat. So that's going on with a bunch of them. And then we've got the big group in Kohnberg. Okay? So, we are bringing to the board, we are bringing Serpent's Blessing with Unafishtim. Unafishtim has an Endless Bag of Wine and Thistle Mace. By the way, we're using a shit ton of items here. We are not using hammers again because most of our forces are either researching or moving, or we're just running out of things that I want to use hammers on. So hopefully next turn we get back to that. But Unafishtim is going to be Serpent's Blessing right off the bat, right? I fully anticipate that Han is going to have Foul Vapors. It's We've seen them employ Serpent's Blessing, Foul Vapors already. We know that that's one of their combos. It's one of our combos. And we're going to Serpent's Blessing to hopefully negate it, right? We are also going to be casting Howl, because that's what you do, right? Especially when you're against another nature place, because you want to Howl to make sure that you counter their Howl. All right. So we'll talk about some of the special ones real quick. Actually, no. Let's just go through this. This is going to be the fastest way to do this. Most of our galas are set. They're all spaced out. You can see we have our actual units in a skirmish formation. This does decrease their morale by 1, but we have Horns of Valor to compensate for that. We're going to have Fanaticism. Not super worried about morale. If I lose because we have -1 fucking morale to skirmish, fuck me, it is what it is, right? The reason why we are set up this way is to cover more ground, to protect more people, and we are filling the gaps with Swarm from our galas. I do not anticipate that the Swarm is going to do terribly much, except take hits. That is entirely the whole reason that they are here. So most of our galas are set to Swarm and then just cast spells. The assumption being is that the Swarm is going to mostly fatigue them out. We do have relief up, so once they come back in, they will probably cast basic spells, probably buff themselves a little bit, and once undead, if any undead is still alive, gets close enough, then they'll start spamming Final Rest, which is great. All of our Gudus are Thunder Striking. We have 8 Communion Slaves here, and this is or if our other 2 Communion Slaves from and from Tesiphon don't make it here, because we can't roll the dice on that. We have to have 8 slaves to be able to run what we're running. So we've got 8 slaves here and 3 masters. That hurts. I want more masters, but that's all I can do with it. So we are doing a little bit of Summon Earth Power and Earth Elemental summons just to kind of mix things up. We're going to have Swarms, a little bit of Earth Elemental, a lot of Water Elemental, a lot of Thunder Strike, more Legions of Steel. Our first Communion Master is going to be doing Storm, Anti-Magic Body, Ethereal, and Astral Shield as buffs, and is kitted out as such, right? More Summon Water Elementals, more Thunder Strike, more Strength of Giants. We have some Gudus in here doing Marble Warriors, right? And then swapping over to Summon Earth Elementals, so we'll see how that goes. More Swarm, more Thunder Strike, more Swarm. We've got a lot of Swarm. We've got a lot of Swarm, and we've got a lot of Thunder Strike. We are not sending Enchantress 2 into battle because she wouldn't really offer anything. We have our next Communion Master. Okay, so next Communion Master is mostly here for support of the Communion, right? We already have high nature casters, so we don't really have to worry about this too terribly much. But we are having this particular caster do relief. So we're going to do Communion Master, Personal Regeneration, Relief, Poison Resistance, because Poison Resistance gives us 25 resistance instead of 10 resistance, so it kind of guarantees to make sure that no random stray poison gets in, and Elemental Fortitude just to give us some additional boosts, okay? We have NC 6 in here, that is Divine Blessing, right? We have our other NC coming in for Fanaticism. This NC is coming in with Divine Blessing, and then is actually going to spam out Winter Ward, and I might actually have a couple of Ishibs swap over to Winter Ward as well, because I'm trying to compensate for our lack of Frostfend, right? We've got all these fucking big-ass Yetis, and we're hopeful that they're going to help the situation, but they could fucking hurt the situation. We didn't make the goal of Frostfend and Mass Regeneration, which I think if we had in this fight would make us ace it, right? So we are doing what we can, right? And that means spamming out a bunch of Winter Wards. Okay. So what else are we doing? We've got our Mushushus in the back. We're hoping to kind of prevent them from being in the thick of things for a while, right? We want them to be fighting exhausted units, not fresh units right out of the gate. More Swarm, more Water Elemental Summon, more Swarm, more Thunderstrike, and then we have our final Master, right? And this is the Communion Master, Power of the Spheres, Fog Warriors, Doom, okay? So Fog Warriors being obviously the big boy here. This is a big deal, right? We saw how effective it was previously. Fog Warriors, Mass Protection, Marble Warriors on some people, etc., right? This is potentially going to be the shaved knuckle, right? The ace in the hole. So hopefully that is going to go well. Fingers crossed, right? And I think the Doom afterwards is just the kind of icing on the cake. More Swarm, and then we have our Yetis, who are basically just off on the side. Please, we're probably going to move them forward a little bit. Please, please, please don't freeze all of our stuffs, but do hold the line. We do need your bodies. So that's the set, right? A lot of buffs that we've been using for a while, right? Mass Protection, Legions of Steel, Strength of Giants, some Marble Warriors mixed in there. We're going to get Fog Warriors up. We're going to have Storm up. I might actually throw in Wind Guide. I can't remember if Wind Guide helps with magic or not. No, I don't think, does it? Oh, yeah. So it probably does. So I'll probably throw in a Wind Guide, right? Because we can do that really easy. And I'm probably going to, so I hate this shit, right? I hate how the game's like, you're not going to cast this. I should. I absolutely should. I've got 1 Nature Gem here, and I've got 3 Nature Gems here. I have 4 Nature Gems. I should cast Serpent's Blessing and be at 100 fatigue. I should cast Serpent's Blessing and I should be at 100 fatigue. And then when I unfatigue, I should cast Personal Regeneration, and that should fatigue me for a couple turns. And then when I unfatigue, I should cast Howl. And that's how the game should work. Unfortunately, what's more likely to happen is you go to cast Serpent's Blessing and things like, oh, this is going to fatigue you out. Let me use 2 gems instead of 1 gem, and then you won't be fatigued. And then you can immediately start casting other things. Not what I want. I want you to do what I tell you to do. So I am paranoid about this, so I might end up going back through and doing things like this Earth Elemental, right? We've got Marble Warriors. We've got Summon Earth Elemental. We've got Summon Earth Elemental. We've got 3 gems. This should work just fine. Is it going to take a while to get through? Yeah, absolutely, because you're going to cast Summon Earth Power, and then you're going to cast Marble Warriors, and this is going to fatigue you out. And then you're going to be like, okay, fatigue down, fatigue down, fatigue down, fatigue down. Okay, Summon Earth Elemental. Oh, you're way fucking fatigued. Okay, summon another Earth Element. Right? Game doesn't like that, though. So I am probably going to go through and add additional gems to this, and that hurts me. That hurts my soul, because those gems are probably just going to get wasted. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. So that is pretty much it, and this has gone on for a very long time. So I'm going to call the episode here. I'm really excited for the next turn. It's probably not going to work out, honestly. like let's be honest. The most likely situation is our god gets there, casts a single earthquake, and then before he can cast a second earthquake, gets mobbed by white centaurs and dies. And then, since I only cast 1 earthquake, there's not nearly enough people dead here in Titan's Breath, and they just slaughter me. Or another alternative, and this would be just as amusing, right? Is my god does make it there, gets 2 earthquakes off, and then dies, right? Or runs or whatever, right? And I'm like, okay, this could be good. This could be good. And then I send in that whole army, and it still just gets slaughtered by white centaurs because white centaurs are so shrunk. All right, that's it. I'm very excited. I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.